Hi everybody, good evening. This is Christian here live from the Quail Farm. It's Sunday evening, 7:30 Eastern, and thanks for tuning in today. Now, let's see if Hazel is in the house today. Hazel, I want to start with Hazel first because if you follow this, you might have seen the Friday broadcast and Hazel didn't want to show up that day. But let's see if she's in a better mood today. Let's figure it out. So we start by showing you some treats what we make here at the farm and go from there, right? Are you ready? I hope you had a great weekend. So let's see. Is Hazel around? Hazel, please come over to me. Let's shoot over to the Hazel cam. Okay, so that's how it looks behind the scenes here. And what I'm gonna show you is a great dog treat. Let me bring that up here. Hazel. Actually, maybe we start with the pet cotton candy. Hazel, my dear, look what I have here. Wanna come and get it? Latest when I open it, you will notice our chief treat tester Hazel cannot resist and check out what's there. Oh, well, that was not intended like that, but okay. So, honey, normally this is a food topper. Right, Hazel? We put that on top of your food. Because she's a younger dog. Hazel is a Labradoodle. And she has great teeth. But we designed that treat for all life stages. So it doesn't matter if it's a puppy, adult, or senior. And as you can see, Hazel really happy about it. So it's freeze-dried quail. And we normally put it on top of her food, as mentioned, to entice her to eat her food. And can you please give your verdict here, Hazel? Let me adjust the camera here a little bit. It's a bit messy. Yeah, thank you. Hazel, sit. You're such a good girl, you are. So Hazel, as a chief treat tester, definitely approves of the pet cotton candy. There is no sugar in there. It's just dehydrated quail, and you get to see my face in a second again. Yeah, I know. Oh, this is yummy. I know. And if you have followed around this channel, if not, you can follow. In one of the last broadcasts, I managed to break some of our quail eggs, what we have here on the farm. And that happened now right before the broadcast. And of course, I don't want the quail egg to go to waste. And usually Hazel has one with dinner on top of her food. However, as you can see, she enjoys it without being, as a treat on its own. So Hazel, if you want to hold on to that for a second. And she eats it with the shell. So let me clean up here a bit the mess, what I'm causing. At least in my fingers. Yeah, Hazel, you're such a good girl. And while Hazel is in such a good mood, she gets one more treat today. If you could step back a bit from the camera, that would be nice. Hazel, we trained that. Thank you. Hazel makes nice sit. Let me adjust this. I know you're usually camera shy, but this camera, you're not used to that one. I tricked her a little bit today. So, now, that you find also in our store, that's the Undique crunch sticks. The crunch sticks is basically the spine of the quail. Let me show it to the customers first. Yeah, well, you don't get the whole at once. You can break it in pieces as a training treat. Right? And we hear that lovely crunch, don't we, Hazel? One more piece. So yeah, this is maybe not recommended for older pets. But if you have a young puppy like I do have here, Hazel is 3 years old. She has great teeth and she would like to have more. But you have to eat dinner later, so I think you did a great job here, Hazel. I thank you very much for your assistance. You can hang out with us if you like. Maybe there is another treat falling off the table a little later. Oh, you got a bit messy here. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah. But let me tell the customers a little bit about our great pet products and our quail farm and all that good stuff. And guys, if you have questions, you can pop them down there in the chat, in the comments. I'm happy to answer them all. So yes, you're a good girl, but Let me show them my face. I extra washed mine. You didn't do really a good job on yours. Shower day today, I guess. So let's switch over here. Now, Hazel. Hi again. It's me, Christian. So, what you saw was the crunch sticks and the pet cotton candy. Right? Let me tell you a little bit about the cotton candy. Right, Hazel? You sit here nice. Good. So yeah, the quail on our farm have a very happy life, and they have one bad day, and we don't want that anything is wasted from the birds we responsible raise on our farms. And by the way, Undique is a network of farms here in the US. I'm based in New Jersey, but we have farms in Texas, Florida, New York State, Louisiana, right? Missouri, Utah, all over. And that is especially interesting when we come to the quail eggs. But obviously the birds, the quail have a certain lifespan in nature. Quail are native to the US, but also many other regions of the world. Quail in the natural environment have a lot of predators, such as snakes, foxes, right, coyotes, hawks, all that stuff. On our farm, they have a really, really happy life, but they have one bad day, and of course we want to use every single part of the quail because we raise them here ethically and responsible. And so when they have their bad day, they make afterwards your pet happy, right? That's just how it works. That's the circle of life. And I'm gonna come back to the circle of life when we talk about the quail eggs and how the circle of life really starts. Now I have to switch back to the Hazel cam for a second because she's so cute there asking for more. So she gets a little more because maybe she hangs out a bit more often with me when I'm live with you guys. So let's take a look. So Hazel, sit please. Thank you, give me paw. You're the good girl you are. You're such a good girl. Oh, I think we have to do a little bit of a manicure later, huh? Hazel doesn't like to have her nails done. And this little treat, right? Oh, not the whole thing. This little treat is awesome to keep her occupied. We do it in a teamwork, my wife and I. One has the clipping, because she's afraid of the clipping a bit, right? And the trimmer. And one has the duty to give her these little snacks, right? I mean, there's not that many calories in there. It's nature pure, right? It's just hot air, and this way we dehydrate the quail meat. There's no artificial coloring in there. So this natural yellow you see here, that's from the quail meat. There is no yucky stuff in there. It's just premium breast meat from the quail. It has a bit of a gamey smell to it. But as you see, your pets will love that. So any carnivore pet, a ferret, an older cat which might have not the best teeth anymore, any pet will appreciate this pure nature. So now I made a messy on the floor, but I guess I don't have to be too worried about it because somebody here likes to clean that up. Right, Hazel? So, thanks again for assisting so well today. Now, let me switch back the camera. So, great product made in the US. So pretty much every product you see today here in the broadcast is made or laid in the United States. So we are happy to bring that to you. With each order, you support a small family farm here in the US, right? We have 14 farms now in the network. I just was thinking if I have the count right, and hopefully growing with your support. Now, the pet cotton candy, isn't it a great product? So Hazel, thanks so much for cleaning up here. Yeah, you're not barking, that's great too. And now we get into our normal broadcast, right? Usually I start off to explain, like, where does it all start? And it starts with the quail egg. And you saw, it's a great snack for your pet as well. But it's also really nutritious for you, right? As you plan now for the week ahead, Easter is coming up. 20th of April is Easter. And of course the days before and after, and with Passover around that time now as well, you might have a family gathering, right? And so what is cooler than bringing deviled eggs to a family gathering, right? And but everybody has this normal deviled eggs. But what about the tiny size, the snack size deviled eggs, right? So that's where our fresh quail eggs come in. And you can get them by the carton, 12, 24, 36, 48, and as many of them as you like. We ship them out fresh. We have right now about, we wait for the egg to be late and we ship it out to you. So it's actually fresher than any egg you can find in the supermarket, even with the transport and everything. And in many supermarkets you cannot find these gems, these quail eggs, right? So with the deviled eggs, right, you hard boil the egg about 7 minutes. Pro tip: if you put them in the boiling water, have a spoon and stir them around a little bit for the first 2 to 3 minutes. That kind of helps to center the egg yolk, the yellow, in the middle of the egg. Also helps to cook it evenly. When you later peel them and cut them in halves to make deviled eggs, for example, then you can easily, my special tool, the tiny spoon, right? Tiny eggs, tiny spoon, tiny cooking. You go ahead and once you cut them in half, maybe I'd show that once here on the channel how I do them. It is a bit of a task to peel them, especially if you make a lot of them. I once did for a family party like 100 of them. It took me a while. Be patient, right? So you peel them like any other egg. The shell is a little harder of the quail egg. That brings in another tool later if I show you. But anyway, you take the yellow out. Then you make a little mayonnaise, for example. You could use one of the eggs or a couple of eggs for making the mayonnaise, so you have mayonnaise at home. Some people like to put in liver, some people just mayonnaise, some spices, right? And then you dress it back into the egg. That's how you make basically deviled eggs, right? And there's plenty of recipes online. And I think on our new storefront, we're going to put in some recipes, some suggestions for you guys. So watch out for that. If you click on any of the products below, you can visit the Undique storefront and find a ton of information about us and all the products we make around quail, homesteading and farm fresh products, but also products for your garden, for example. So yeah, that's how you make the deviled eggs out of these gems. But let's talk a little bit more about the quail eggs. What's in there? On average, a quail egg has about 13 calories. So in regards to calories, they are really, not heavy on you. They are packed with protein. There's 1 gram of protein in each egg, 1 gram of fat. You have your daily dose of vitamin A is about 5% in one single egg. Vitamin B12, 10%. Riboflavin is in there, 10% of your recommended intake. Folate, 5%. Selenium, 10%. And then all those other minerals and vitamins. For example, iron. When I was younger, I had an iron deficiency. I wish I would have known about quail eggs back then, or my mother would have known about quail eggs, because they are loaded with iron, for example. There's a lot of antioxidants in there, right? Zinc is in quail eggs too, and so on and so on. The list is long, so just click on the product. You're gonna find more information there. It helps, leucine helps with regulating your blood glucose levels, for example. There's a lysine in there as well, which helps with the children's bone growth, for example. There have been a lot of studies on quail eggs, and they're really beneficial for your health, right? So the cool thing is also, if you plan on breakfast, things like that, you can really choose how big should be your breakfast, right? And I forgot the chicken egg in the fridge again, but I show you a picture later in regards to the size comparison. But depending on the size of the quail egg, it's about 3 to 4. If you have some bigger ones, they come in all sizes. It's a natural thing. So we try to give like one size in the box. You decide then how much you want to really have for breakfast, right? If I'm hungry, I have 8. If I'm less hungry, I have 6, depending what sides I do. It's really flexible this way. With the chicken egg, you do either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And here, and you know, you can't really be so accurate with it. Hazel, you're back for more. Ah, she's so cute. One more shot. One more little bit. Okay, Hazel. Hazel cam is on. Are you pretty, my girl? I see the lighting here. We have to work on that lighting. Yeah, yeah. She is a pretty girl. Do we do crunch stick or do we do cotton candy? Cotton candy it is. Okay. I mean, it's just a little bit, right? The quail is a nutrient dense bird, right? So that makes it interesting also for all kinds of animals. Yeah, I dropped a lot. I'm sorry for that. But the floor is cleaned. So, there you want a bit more? Yeah, you're such a good girl, yeah. Okay. Hazel cam. Yeah, good that we put that there because you're such a shy little girl, aren't you? Okay, so yeah. Little distracted here. Working with animals in live TV. That's something when I studied photography, they told me never do it. And here I am. Anyway. Whoopsie daisy. Are you okay? Oh, you got it on your nose. Ah, happens. Okay, so yeah, fully packed with protein. And I wanted to show you the nifty tool, what we have in our online store as well, which makes your life much easier. So that's a product we couldn't find a manufacturer in the US yet. You take your quail egg, you put it in this round little thingy, and there you see this triangle kind of, that cuts it open, right? Really simple. This way when you make breakfast you don't have to crack it, and because the shell is a little harder than a chicken egg and they are smaller, but that makes it also easier for shipping actually, right? And we do a great job in packaging. But it's eggs. If something goes wrong, please take a picture, contact me, and we sort it out. And the packages are insured, so that's one thing. But anyway, great jam. And now let me talk you through little things what we have prepared for Easter. And then I tell you the story, how it started for me with quail and how you might get into quail if you're interested, because you could have them at home, right? But I get there when I get there. So, Easter's coming up. If you want to present your quail eggs really nice, or you want to gift something to people, we made this here as well. Made on the farm. Good that I have a little IT background, because it took me a while to work it out how to 3D print stuff, but I didn't see anything on the market for quail eggs in regards to quail egg holders and some cute stuff like this bunny. So depending on the size of the quail egg, it's kind of aimed at standard size. So a double yolker wouldn't fit in there, but a standard size, as you can see, you can hide easily in there. And then open it up. So that could be a nice addition for your breakfast table. You could also put a little paper in there if you just want to use it as a gift for somebody. Whoopa! I didn't break the egg. And it comes in a pack of 2. And it's a cute little box. You could write something on it too if you want to gift it to somebody. And the cool thing is you can paint it yourself. That's the stab my wife took at it. Yeah. Little Sharpie or whatever. And you can be creative with it. Like for your kids, for example. So that's a little thing we have here. Exclusive for you in our shop. And again, you can hide the quail egg real nice there too. I better don't hide it now, otherwise I forget about it. And then I'm not online like live until next week Friday. So I mean, it probably would stay fresh, but just in case. Another thing we have is these little cuties. I don't have the link here right now, but have a look. Those are the mini ones, the egg holders. Oh, by the way, this is a celadon egg. So we get to that when we talk a little bit more about hatching eggs as well. But the celadon eggs, as you can tell, they're blue color. That's pretty awesome, aren't they? Very cute little gems. So, when we don't ship out eggs fresh, so that's usually when it's in the heat of the summer, or if you have double yolkers or any kind of eggs which are either too big or too small, then we make something else for your pets. Now has Hazel disappeared for now? Yeah, I can show her favorite thing, and that's the quail egg food topper for pets. So that's whole quail eggs. There's an entire pack in there, entire dozen of eggs. It's freeze dried. We produce that on our farms. So also made in the US, laid first, then made in the US. Lasts forever. We put an expiration date on it because we have to, but it lasts you at least for a month, I would say, depending how generous you are. And right now we have that here in a bundle with one of our really cool toys as well. I'll show you that in a second. And so there's an entire carton of quail eggs in there. We freeze dry them, package them nicely for you. So there's only the good stuff of the quail egg in there. And you can sprinkle it on top of your pet's food. Hazel, when she was 2 years old, she suddenly was not interested in her normal food. And I thought about it. Okay, I had fresh eggs and she got used to them and she loves them. But then I figured I need to do something else again because she would just go there to her bowl and when I crack an egg in there, she would lick the egg and then was not interested in her other food. Right, Hazel? Yeah, there she comes again. And so with that, you sprinkle it over the food. It gets in every cracks of her normal food there and it gives it, you know, really something for her to add. Like I always say, it's like the Parmesan on spaghetti, right? If I eat spaghetti with meat sauce, I like a little bit of Parmesan cheese on it. Now, cheese for dogs, I don't know. Looks a little bit like it, but it's just the awesomeness of fresh quail eggs, freeze-dried as a food topper. So that we have right now in the store where you can save, if you buy it as a bundle, with our wing on the string. The wing on the string is what the name says. It's a wing where we put a string on it. My daughter had that idea, and I don't know if she's the one who invented it because I'm sure other people had that idea too. But she said, Daddy, can I have one of those wings? You don't use them anyway. And I said, yeah, because there is no meat on them. She said, can I have one of the wings? Put the string around it. I want to play with my cat. And I'm like, okay, I think you're onto something. Maybe we can afford college for you. So anyway, so we take the wings. As mentioned, there's barely any meat on them. So we dehydrate them. And that way it becomes shelf stable. If there's any things which would normally, you know, be around, it gets killed off, like, I don't know, any flies or whatever, but rolls around on quail. I don't have anything crawling around on my quail. I don't really see anything there. Anyway, but we just make it shelf stable by dehydrating it, hot air, and then we put a string around it. That's a job, I tell you, when you make a few hundred of those. Then you know what you have done on the weekend. But yeah, we can bring that to you now as a bundle, so you can save a bit getting both things. And that's for cats and dogs. There is people out there who like to, you know, train their dogs for hunting, and they buy this artificial scent for quail if they want to go quail hunting. Why buying anything artificial if you can have pure nature? So you can play with your dog, with your cat. If you have a stick laying around in your backyard or so, just tie the other end of the string on the stick. Then it's even easier to play around. For shipping reasons, we didn't supply a stick. I mean, everybody has some kind of stick at home, right? If I look in my backyard after a storm, I find a lot of sticks. And yeah, Hazel, remember that day when you had a bit of a session with them? It happened. I was not careful in the very beginnings of my company. I did let a few of them lay on the table, and Hazel thought that's a great snack for her. Well, let me tell you, she pooped a lot of feathers, but she's fine, as you can see. I talked with the vet about it. He said, well, you know, the bones of the quail, they're a little softer, but it's designed as a toy. But again, the toy is pretty safe. If you play with your cat and your cat is very aggressive because you bring up the natural instinct in your animal again. Because, you know, cats would love to play with birds, don't they? Then you might see a few feathers roughing off here and there, right? I mean, if the cat accidentally eats a feather, it's a feather, right? But make sure that a smaller pet doesn't swallow it or anything, like with any toy. But it's a natural product in the end, right? So just use it responsible, and when you're done, you have a zipper here, so you can put it back in. If you do it with a puppy who is makes it wet, then I would suggest to try it, before you put it back, that it doesn't get moldy or anything like that, right? But a great toy should last you a long while, unless your puppy gets way too excited and yeah, destroys it. Then you know where to find us if you need a new one. But it lasts a while. I had great feedback on it from customers. It's one of our top sellers here on our Undique storefront. So a great little bundle we have here for you today. Make your pet happy too, right? And so that's the wing on the string together with the lovely, lovely, lovely food topper. Now, let's talk eggs. The big question is always, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, we know now that it was the quail. It was about 4,000 years ago that we domesticated that bird, and I have here a little figurine because you can imagine Hazel and Quail together in a small little office studio down here. I think you would have a lot of fun, but I think I would have a mess here. And of course, we treat those birds responsible, and therefore they are safe, and I show you later how we keep them. And therefore I have this little statue here, right? It's about the life size of a quail. And so in comparison with the eggs, it's pretty amazing. Let me bring up an egg without breaking it. That's a tricky part now. Oh, I'm getting there. Ta-da! Okay, so that's usually the rooster figurine, and I have a hen figurine. So the hen lays the egg, right? So we have the thousands of years old question, what came first, the egg or the chicken? It's the quail. That's answered. And of course you would start your journey with quail with a quail egg. If you want to beat the eggflation, if you don't want to be relying anymore on supermarkets who might limit you on how many eggs you can buy. I've seen that here in supermarkets, even here around in Jersey. I was like, what the heck? I'm so happy that I have quail at home, because those guys, they're very reliable egg layers. They lay an egg every single day. They might take a break in the winter if you don't have any extra light on them. If the days get really short, you could give them a break or put some extra light on them, and they would keep laying eggs, right? And the hen alone lays eggs. She doesn't need the rooster down here to be around to lay eggs. So that's a cool thing. So if you wonder, are they noisy or so on? I'm gonna show you a little video as well. But the hens alone would do it. But if you get hatching eggs from us, you would need also an incubator, right? Incubator is a machine where you pop those eggs inside. Those are fertile eggs. We test on fertility by hatching them ourselves all the time, right? You already have seen all the products we make from quail, so we need to have quail. And we hatch year round, so we know that most of the eggs we ship to you are fertile quail eggs. We cannot test every single egg, right? And usually for shipped eggs, everybody who is into quail knows that they go through a little bit of stress during shipping, so you cannot expect that all of them will hatch. It's a natural process. It's the same what happens when the quail in the nature sits on their eggs. Not every single one will hatch, right? And that's okay. So you plan accordingly. Maybe you get a dozen, you get 2 dozen, 3 dozen, depending on how many quail you would like to have, right? Depending on how many eggs you want to eat, right? So think about that. You need the incubator. You find them on Amazon. There's all kinds of models, starter models, professional models. And I'm going to show you also some housing after what we use, which is professional grade. But you could, make something yourself. You can keep quail in an aviary. The thing is, you can't have them really free range because they would just fly away. They can fly a couple of 100 feet, and also, there's the danger from above. I mean, we have hawks around here. They would love quail for breakfast. So you have to keep them safe from predators, and so you need to have a little housing for them. But that could be in your garage, in aviary, kind of a greenhouse tunnel, which has chicken wire around it and all that. You could build something. You can look it up. There's so many options, and there's no wrong or right way as long you take care of those birds. They need fresh water and food and safe housing, and of course their poop is great fertilizer for your garden, right? And your neighbor's garden and your neighbor's garden, because they poop. But if you're into homesteading, or if you have a nice garden, don't go and buy fertilizer. Get a few quail. If you put an enclosure somewhere to your garden, they get rid of all the bugs. They love bugs. Awesome. So they are little, like I would say, they're little bug fighters here, right? So let me show you a little bit the first quail I hatched. So that's a picture of it. And let me show you some chicks. And let's talk a little bit about news on the farm. Actually, we had the photo session yesterday. There you see how cute those quail are. And just that I mentioned as well, on our hatching eggs, on our packaging, you get a free online course as well with everything you need to know about quail, how to care for them, and how to hatch them and all that good stuff. But let me show you the results of our photo shoot here. So let's bring up, ta-da! Here we go. How was the week? Let me play this video first here about the quail chicks. And at the end of the video, listen carefully, you're gonna hear a rooster. They are not that loud.
What's up, guys? That's a lot of baby quail. Aren't they cute?
Did you hear the rooster there? So they do crow a little bit, the roosters, and if you wonder how many roosters I'm gonna get out of a dozen of eggs, my experience shows it's about 50-50. So 50% of the birds hatching will be roosters later, 50% will be hens. It can vary, as it's a natural thing. You cannot tell by looking at the eggs if it's gonna be a boy or girl. That's impossible. Even if you read on the internet when it's pointy or whatever, nah, it's not possible to tell what it's gonna be. Now, that's a size comparison. Now, you see on the bottom a duck egg, then there's a chicken egg here in the middle, and then there is a jumbo quail egg, and then on top there, that's a standard quail egg. And when your quail are new to laying, you might get a little surprise, which could be a dark black egg like that, and small eggs too. And I call it training eggs. I hear people call them fairy eggs as well. But what it is, the quail is new to lay eggs, and maybe didn't get the memo right and the sizing right. Let me grab here. Standard size, yeah, like this one. The quail was suddenly out of ink. Just put a few spots here, and then what happened? Just happens. It's natural. And they come up with these tiny little eggs too sometimes. Not all the time. Usually the first few eggs they lay, they could end up that small. If you don't catch them, they end up in the poop tray, depending what flooring you have for the quail cages and things like that. So it's cute. It's nature. Don't worry if you see it at the beginning, a small egg, they get bigger. That's just natural. And those small ones, as you see, we don't ship them out to you, of course, because there would be no use of, it's not fully done. You could give it to your pet as a snack, but they would be not viable for hatching them. But what we did on the farm, we had a bit bad weather coming through here as well. Thankfully, all trees are still standing around here. I had a stressful week, so I had ramen noodles. When I have a busy day, I have ramen noodles for lunch or dinner. And I like to crack a few quail eggs in there. When I pour them after the water in, they slowly cook in there. Depending how well done you want to have it, I like it that the yolk is still running. So that's how I serve it then at the end. It's nice, some spices, and I have a bit extra protein and extra nutrition in there. Quail eggs can be used for anything, right? Here you see the quail eggs down there on the plate, and flour and veal. I made schnitzel. Yeah, I'm from Austria. My mother is from Vienna, and that's where the schnitzel. Well, we're still fighting with the Italians about it, who invented the schnitzel really, but we definitely made the Vienna schnitzel with veal. That's Austrian. Sorry. They came up with the idea with the breadcrumbs around it somewhere in Milan, Italy. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about schnitzel, I guess. But you can cook anything with quail eggs. You can use it for baking and so on. So I made some schnitzel this week. It's blooming around here on the farm, and yeah, we had some visitors here from the forest close by. I didn't do the lawn mowing yet after now getting into spring, so I have these natural lawnmowers employed right now. Hazel has a hard time not chasing them away, but they need their food too, and that's okay. So I'm gonna hold on with lawn mowing for another week or two, let them get their share, and then clean up a bit around the property. So I mentioned we did the photo shoot, and I have just a few pictures here, and they're not edited or anything. I just snapped them yesterday. We had a lot of fun, and I have made some videos as well. I'm gonna play them without sound because I had some relaxing music on in the background for the quail and for me. It takes some patience, and it's a lot of work to work with animals. And but this was actually a more pleasurable moment. Taking a photo shoot here with the little birdies. So this quail is about, I would say, 9 days old. Sits here in a little basket. That's why my little basket here disappeared here on the on my table. By the way, if you want to make a fun game out of this stream here, count the little bunnies in the background. I count it later with you, and we'll see if you get to the right result how many bunnies you see here in the background. Little Easter thing. So yeah, I still have to clean up a bit the picture here, Photoshop it or whatever. It was quite interesting to try to get the quail to sit in the basket. Let's see if I succeeded there. Let me switch off the sound and play this little video here. As you can see, no quail or photographer got harmed in this session. This little birdie was pretty relaxed, just standing there. We had heat on because the first 2 weeks of the life of a quail, so the little chicks, they needed the same temperature in the brooder with a hot and colder zone if you can. Then they have an incubator, which is 99.5 Fahrenheit, about 37.5 Celsius. So that's how you incubate them, with that temperature in the incubator. But again, you find that all on our packaging. And in the brooder, the first 2 weeks, they also like it warm. And then they have the proper feathers and everything. And then the birds are really hardy, right? We're here in New Jersey. We have the quail all year round. The main challenge is that the water system and their water doesn't freeze. But I know people up in Michigan, people in any climate zone, it doesn't matter. The quail like it, but of course they're a little bit like us. They would like it on room temperature. That would be the best thing for them. But you don't really have to, air condition them or provide heat, other than keep the water from freezing, right? So those birds are hardy. But let's take a few more looks here, pictures. So eventually a quail was so nice and was sitting on a basket here. Let's take a look at it here. It did complain a little bit with the chirping here, probably looking for its friends. But we only took it out for a minute or two at a time, and it had some fun there. And of course we wanted to show the quail with the egg carton. As I show these pictures, just a quick reminder, if you're already in quail and you look at this, please don't, take any pictures from anybody without asking, right? There is such a thing as copyright, and it's a lot of work doing this stuff. And so I recently saw online some discussions, and it happened to us many, many times. So if you see anything about Undique on any platform, make sure that it says seller Undique. Then the eggs are actually from us. If somebody uses our pictures without our permission, please don't do that. That confuses customers. We don't want that. Here is another little. Yeah, the quail was nearly falling asleep there, as you can see. It was a bit later in the day. One quail was complaining there in the background. Okay, we put it back into the brooder straight away. We got some really cool shots here. That little birdie has its fun here. That's definitely gonna be a rooster. I can tell by the crow it made when I took that picture. And roosters kind of go up and then grow. So I think it's gonna be a rooster. It's a bit early to tell still. I mean, they're only a couple of days old, but if you watch your birds, you get a feeling for that. Latest when they start laying an egg or not, you're gonna find out if it's a rooster or not. Here another really proud quail on the basket there. As it was really just standing like that. It's an amazing little bird. Amazing animals. Here another one. And I just realized I haven't put any in here with the adult birds. I'll show you that on the next week live stream. So yeah, great little model as well, the quail, in regards to Easter photography. Now the adult birds. There is two variations of quail, and there is not really a standard out there, but we follow the American Coturnix Breeder Association, and they have a definition of what is a jumbo bird and what not. So they speak about a healthy bird, well fed, and at the age of 10 weeks being over 10 ounces, right? So there is gonna be more meat on the bird, and they're gonna get bigger than this little statue here. And there is quail out there like what we got in our store as well, the Georgia Giant, for example. So the Georgia Giant quail, as the name says already, is native to Georgia, the state of Georgia, and not the country. And they lay the tiniest eggs, but they are the biggest birds, for example. So if you read jumbo somewhere in our product descriptions, we are not referring to the size of the eggs, right? Because there's not really a standard. Some people say over 14 grams an egg is a jumbo egg, things like that. But we rather go by the size of the bird, what you can expect, because that's important for your housing, for how much feed the bird will eat later on. A standard quail eats a little less than a jumbo bird, which kind of makes sense. If a bird is bigger, it eats more than a bird which is smaller. So if you read jumbo of any of our product listings, we refer to the size of the bird, not to the size of the eggs. However, of course, in many cases it is the case that if the bird is bigger, that they lay a bigger egg. However, I already mentioned the Georgia Giant. That's not the case there. Also be careful there, right, that nobody sells you like, oh yeah, I have the best big jumbo eggs, and then they sell you double yolkers, an egg with two egg yolks in there. So that's not great for hatching, because twins in bird eggs is very rare. They wouldn't survive the incubation process. So double yolkers, great for eating, but bad for hatching. So that was a bit our week this week on the farm, and we are pretty busy collecting eggs on all of our farms here at the Undique network. Here's a little network map, and I have to update it because we just had a farm joining in Missouri as well. But the idea about having this network is that we, number one, never run out of eggs. Number two, that we be closer to you. Number three, we want that as many family farms have the opportunity to bring their products to you, right? Sure, there's farmers markets and all this good stuff, but there is bad weather sometimes, like we saw this week, coming across the US. It's no fun to be out there in the rain. So that's what you do when you order from Undique. You support small family farms, and we are very proud to bring those eggs to you. We have a lot of products. Sometimes we run out of supplies, but these empty quail eggs for crafting, we have maybe a few left. Otherwise, order some fresh eggs. Fertile eggs would work too, but you can blow them out, you can paint them. Great thing for Easter. Just wanted to mention that as well. Speaking about eggs, if you want to look for really small birds, the button quail egg. That's actual size here, 5-cent coin, and the size of the egg. So it's really tiny, like the one I showed you here. Tiny little eggs. And the bird itself is smaller as well, but they're cute little birdies. You can still eat the eggs, but they're really tiny. So if you look at having birds and your button quail eggs in our store, for example, is a great thing as well. Now let's take a look at the adult birds. Thankfully, Joe, one of our farmers, sent me these pictures of his birds, and I'm allowed to use them and show you a little bit how he keeps them. We have an internal quality monitoring here at Undique, right? So we hatch each other's eggs sometimes, we ship them, that we know how is the hatch rate during shipping. Of course, we have a hatch report card on every hatching egg order as well. And you see here the jumbo white birds. So we know from you, if you are so kind to report back to us how your hatch rate was. That goes in a database, so we can monitor that as well. But we monitor it internally too. And therefore we know everything is fine, and we do all the good stuff in regards to the health of the birds and so on. So that said, we don't have hatch rate guarantees. Pretty much no breeder has a guarantee for hatching, because we don't know your equipment, we don't know your experience, we don't know how the eggs are being treated in shipment. So therefore we price our eggs accordingly, but we don't have a hatch rate guarantee. So if you have only a few chicks hatching, you know, yeah, maybe the next hatch is better. Maybe you need to check, do you have a secondary thermostat in the incubator? Was the temperature constant? Or was your incubator in a room with a lot of draft, for example? Or do you have curious kids at home who opened it during lockdown multiple times? And that's not good for them either. So there's many factors to it. It's a natural process. We rather like to keep the price of the eggs down and don't have a hatch rate guarantee, then give you a hatch rate guarantee and say, hey, yeah, sure, if you have a bad hatch, we ship you free eggs again. Nothing in life is for free, right? We have to pay shipping, we have to pay feed for the birds, our time, electricity, all that good stuff. And I always like to compare it when I buy eggs in the supermarket and I go home and bake a cake and I burn that cake in my oven. Do I go back to the supermarket and say, hey, you sold me bad eggs, I like to get new ones for free? I don't think so. The supermarket would give you other batch of eggs. It's the same with us. We do the best we can with those eggs, and we have really great results. We would be out of business by now if we wouldn't do all the good things, right? So I just want to mention that a little bit, because sometimes people have expectations which might be not. Expectation is actually funny enough, right, when we talk about eggs. So you need to have just proper expectations. It's a natural process. We are here to support you. You can ask us questions. We have experts in our network in regards to genetics of the birds, because there's so many variations. So look at these cuties here. So that's some more whites here. They are coming sparkled. They're coming golden colors in the wild type brown ish colors, which are great for beginners because you can feather sex them. If we listen to our teachers, and if any of my teachers are watching this, I'm sorry that I was not always listening. But in the world of birds, it's typically the way that the husband is prettier than the wife. In my life, it's the other way around. But okay. Because why in the wild, of course, the girl needs to kind of be camouflage to hide somewhere when she sits on the eggs, the hen, right? while the boy does what he does. And so it's with quail similar, but not for all types of quail. So you can tell sometimes by the feathers, sometimes you can't. Then there's other methods to find out, right? You can of course monitor your bird. If the bird crows, right, then you know it's a rooster. If the bird lays an egg, you know it's a girl, right? For example. Yeah, so here a few more pictures. That's the white ones here. And once I have edited all the pictures from the photo shoot, I'm gonna show you a few more other variations there. But thanks to Joe and his wife for snapping a few pictures there in their environment as they are on the farm. As you see, it's very clean. We use awesome cage system, and I want to show you that a little bit because yeah, we want to support another family company, and they are down in Delaware, which is Hatching Time, and they support us very well too. So let me show you a little bit when I assembled some layer cages, and I like to zoom forward here. That's a nice winter project, very easy to build. The cool thing is it comes in different models, so you can decide you want to have 1 tier, 2 tiers, 3, 4, up to 5 tiers, depending on how many quail you want to keep. And the team there at Hatching Time, it's 2 families there who run the show, and all the employees. They bring this great product here to you guys, and we like to use them too. Not on all of our farms. We have, you know, outdoor setups as well. We have aviary style setups as well. But here on my farm in New Jersey, I like to use the Hatching Time cages, as I'm a not great builder. Like, I have 2 left hands. I'm literally left-handed, and well, I do write with my right hand side for whatever reason. To teach me that in school. Anyway, I'm just not good in building stuff. I tried to build one out of wood and wire, and yeah, it just didn't work out for me. The building took me forever, and then I was doing more research as I started with quail, and then I heard about, yeah, wire is not really good for the birds' feet. They can get bumble feet, and they could injure themselves there. So I looked for the state-of-the-art product, and the benefit of those cages is they cannot rust. There's aluminum rods there to give stability. There's they go in here and in there. Yeah, turn it around there. Christian from the past is doing a good job there. Let me show you when he's done building. So that's how it looks like. Obviously, you shouldn't leave it in your living room. You're gonna have a problem with your better half. And you know, quail poop. There's some poop trays going in there then, and they're easy to keep then that way. And the birds, they love the environment. They get little sandboxes in there as well. I rotate that through so they can take a sand bath. They have constant access. Then there's feed trays then in front. I was not done building it, but if you click on the product below, you can get more information on that. So it's a great product, state of the art, and that's how we want to keep them very safe, healthy, so that they really have a really happy life on our farm until, yeah, they go to a show. Now let's talk about Show Pro because it's a thing. Not just in chicken and cats and dogs. No, quail too. There's virtual shows there. Inform yourself online. There's great people out there who organize virtual shows. And if you want to show off your bird, it's a good idea to give your bird extra nutrition. But in any case, it's a good idea to give your bird extra nutrition. And this is where Show Pro comes in. Again, made by a breeder in Alabama. The Walker Supply Company. Carrie and his family, they do a great job there. He talked to a lot of people about nutrition, and so this is a supplement to your normal feed. Comes in a 10-pound bag, a bit bigger, just for me heavy to lift around here. And so the Champions blend is made for poultry and game birds, and it has extra protein in there. Protein is good for the growth of the birds as well. Calcium, vitamins, and a lot of other things. Best is you click on the product below and read through it. That makes your bird really looking great. The feathers and so on. And it has a special ingredient in there. I can't pronounce it. Cysteine. Maybe I pronounced it right. Give me a thumbs up if I did. um, Cysteine is actually used in human grade products as well, which prevents hair loss, right? I'm not using it, but if I would have to, I would. And why wouldn't your birds use something to look a little bit prettier if you want to show them off in a show, right? So your roosters and hens would appreciate a little extra, I'm sure. Now, we're very practical on our quail farms, and everything we show you today we use ourselves, right? If you got into quail, if you haven't got into quail by now, by listening to me, I don't know what's holding you back. But if you got into quail, you wanna make sure you have a safe storage for them. Now, we use special kind of cartons when we ship out, but if you go to the farmer's market, or if you want to make your family and friends happy, or if you sell them at the farmer's market, things like that, we have those quail egg cartons for you in our store as well. That comes from a farm in Texas. They are kept away from birds, of course, in a separate storage, and we ship those out to you. We have the 12 count and the 30 whole count, and they are made to fit jumbos as well. Let me show you. Last week when I showed that, I had a double yoker which was so big it did fit in there, but I ended up crushing it by adding a second one. So I show you a double yoker. That's a double yoker. I show you a standard quail egg. Oh no, sorry, jumbo I wanted to show. Of course a standard would fit as well, but find a jumbo here. Yeah, that's a bigger size egg. I forgot to bring my scale here, but I hope you take my word for it. I mean, with that double yoker here, you can see it, it's big. But with a double yoker, if you put one in the middle, it would still close. Not that firm, but I actually didn't break it. And that's a big double yoker. I'm talking here, this is probably 20 plus grams egg, right? The other egg here is probably 16, 15 grams, maybe 17 grams. But just to give you an idea. So they lock up nicely. They fit the jumbos, because that's important to quail people. Because there's so many people out there selling this stuff, and they tell you, yeah, of course, jumbo fits, and then you get them, they don't fit. No, we tested that. As we have a lot of our farmers sell the eggs on farmers markets too, we needed something where we can transport them in, and yeah, so that's what we bring to you. Let me put that back here. If this big one here, double yoker, fits in the middle, then the normal jumbo fits too. So just to show that a little bit. And that one, that's gonna be a hazel treat, because it's even for our cartons here, what they come in all colors, so please don't be sad if you order eggs from us and they don't come in this specific color I'm showing here. Actually, yeah, we could ship it out as a fresh egg, it still fits. Nah, I wouldn't risk it. I don't want that it breaks. That's a hazel egg. She will love it. So, they come in the 30s too. I have there a link below too, and you can choose however you want to sell your eggs, right? Hazel, I was just talking about you. Want to have one more treat? She comes and goes. These employees nowadays. Where's my chief treat tester? Over there. Hazel. We can't end this stream without showing Hazel, can we? Since she's so cooperative today. Let's go back to a treat. Oh, by the way, you find this one with Hazel's picture in our store as well. I don't have it in the lineup today. Sorry for that. Hazel, my dear, what we gonna do? Let's switch over to Hazel Cam first, because people should see that I am wearing trousers during this broadcast, of course. So, honey, you're coming to say bye to our guys? But not without getting a treat, do you? Give me paw. Yeah. Give me other paw. You don't want to give me other paw? This paw. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, you get a treat for that. Now, I didn't break another egg. Anyway, too many eggs might be not good. We have to talk to your vet about it. They say that an egg a day keeps the vet away, but too many of anything is not great, right? Yeah, she says like Speed up talking. Give me the good stuff. Okay, there you go. So let me tag the right product down below here. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, that's our pet cotton candy. That's why we started off early on, right, Hazel? If it would be up to you, you would eat the entire jar, wouldn't you? Yeah? But maybe that's a bit too much in one session. But you see how fixed she is on that? And she's not easily motivated by food, by the way. She likes more the cuddles, right, Hazel? Not that I'm a professional dog trainer or anything, but I just tell from my experience. As you can see, I'm not a dog trainer. She trains me, I think, most of the time. Right? Yeah, we definitely have to do your nails. That's next after this podcast. We already took care for the birdies today. Now we took care for the doggy. Okay. So it's definitely Hazel approved. Right? You give your wow to that? Okay. Awesome. Now, before Hazel is begging for more, we're gonna finish up for today. I like to thank you guys for watching. I will be online again on Friday, 7:30 Eastern. You can leave a follow, then you get a notification on your Amazon app, for example. And I'm gonna bring you then the news what happened in the week to come. I hope you guys gonna have a really great start into your week. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can contact us at any time. I answer every message personally. We are a small network, and thanks God, with all the support from all the other farms, I have the time to answer all your questions personally. They do a great job in shipping out all the eggs. So yeah, let's finish up for tonight. Stay safe out there. Have a great start in the week again, and see you around.